wants to eat up a lot of farm. And if you're going to go for the Invoker Ags build-up, that will also eat up a lot of farm as well. So you need to kind of get that solid start going here for Alpha, for Rises, to hit that point where you can just be safe, you know, come out of the lane fine. We'll see how much Sunlight can do with Visage. That can be a little bit of a question mark. There's some good counterplay Void has there, but level 1, level 2 Time Walk, pretty damn long cooldowns. It's only by level 3 you really feel comfy, so there's a big window for Sunlight to play aggressive there.
And naturally, with the Visage in your draft, Wildcard, they will group up as 5 and start heading towards the bottom side of the map because they definitely want to try and force a first blood. Problem is they're out of smoke, so kind of hard to sneak up on them now into that high ground. Wildcard going to go back around the other way. Rises would be a great target, but he can always just skill up the Time Walk and just get out. We'll see Flea now. Rises on the run. They can't really keep up with him here, I don't think, so Flea will just get a bit of harassment onto Rises while he can. Rest of Wildcard, get a few wards down. Nothing too special. Still, it does seem like Rises and Tiger are eventually going to make their way back in to try and contest this bounty. And eventually, do pick it up. There you go, Rises out-clicking Flea. So it's actually going to be a 3-for-1 trade. The way of Alpha, they actually get away with 3 bounties.
Yeah, they're going to be feeling great off the back of that. And honestly, just looking at the bot lane, this is not going to be a comfy time for Sunlight. Just Arcane Curse can kind of make it super awkward for Visage to play the spam game with Soul Assumption. So Flea really has to put in the work to get some space going for Sunlight. Does some good damage in lane. She started off fairly well there.
Certainly does. It's the thing against Train, though. Like, Arcane Curse is annoying, but it feels like with Flea around, it's going to be too hard to actually do anything on this Silencer. Of course, mid lane's the one we're looking at right now. You're going to have Sol and Babbage going at it straight away. The Invoker vs Tiny matchup. I mean, it doesn't really feel like it favors one or the other too much. Probably just a bit of an even trading lane here between these two. I think Babbage should have a good enough time hitting creeps. Sol will probably have the same. Keep in mind, Sol does go for the Exort build, so he does have that Sunstrike with that global presence. They do find any opportunities for that Sunstrike. Suppose you've got that going there for Alpha. And chances are most of those opportunities probably will come out of the top lane where you are going to have Pamplona and Monster against Sammy and Ark. And speaking of Ark, already in that Metamorphosis trying to get a bit of damage off onto Monster. Bit of a cheeky shard onto Sammy, but it's not going to lead to too much. But I'd imagine if you are going to go for any Sunstrike plays, it is probably going to be up top.
Yeah, you're going to be looking to connect with any cookie plays Sammy might try to pull off. A little bit easier said than done, as you are fairly durable here on the side of Alpha. Early levels in Sunstrike are not the most damaging until maybe level 2, level 3 Exort is where you probably feel comfier. So Monster should have pretty decent time. Whenever that Metamorphosis is down, he's got a lot of room with a Spirit Siphon. You've got the save and aggression that can come out from Pamplona here. So it should be a little bit tougher for Ark, although he's not being slowed down that much. Sammy's doing a great job of just being obnoxious on the sideline, ensuring that they can't really line up for any jump opportunity. And the wave is controlled pretty damn well by Ark, just keeping it close to his tower, ensuring that there's no room to really dive him just yet.
Yeah. Let's go back to that bot lane for a moment. Like, Sunlight's having a decent old time here in the Visage. I mean, Arcane Curse, it was kind of whiffed that time around from Tiger as well, so not really going to do any damage onto that Visage. He's just perfectly fine through it. And you see Flea just move up. Tiger, you get near that tree line, you are going to cop so much harassment from Flea. Has a lot of tangos ready for this, but again, I just wonder what kind of impact this duo at the bot lane is going to have. Naturally, you just want Rises to hit creeps, but it's already looking pretty tough for Rises to get any form of farm in. He's only got 6 CS for now.
Yeah, it's rough. Again, your early levels in Time Walk don't really allow you to be that aggressive in farm, and he even had to go for Time Dilation just to have a way to shove Sunlight off with increased cooldowns.
Tiger,
trying to chase.
So much damage. Soul Assumption flies in. They've got first blood. And it's really just that easy. Look at Rises. He's getting blocked off by his own creeps. Luckily, does have the Time Walk available, so does make his way out, but if Flea lands a Leech Seed with Sunlight around, you're just dead. Rises, he has to TP. Had he not done so, he was gone.
Yeah, it's a slower start, and that's the one thing with Void. You have a nice aggressive support like Silencer. Void doesn't connect to it too well. Again, Time Dilation plus Arcane Curse sounds good in theory. It's a lot harder to play off the back of it in the early levels for that Void. Let's see if Rises opts for more in the Time Walk or just get the time locked to try to farm, but...
Top lane, they'll make the jump in on Arc. Arc is dropping extremely low with the tag team up. Arc looks like he's going to go down. Monster and Pamplona able to get the job done, and well, that's a massive pick off there for Alpha.
Yeah, they're slowing down Arc the same way that the side of Wildcard slowing down Rises. So you've got a pretty good back and forth, suppressing these carries, having a greater time in the off lane. Monster's having a much stronger showing in that sense. Much more stable creep clearing for him, and the farm buildup is starting to get there. You're not too bad off here if you're Alpha. You have a slight lead on your lanes, and eventually, you know, Soul's not really being challenged. He's going for that Midas, and there are no rotations to stop him.
Soul Assumption thrown out on Ryze is doing so much damage. Ryze is getting salved up here. Should be okay. That lane again, just not going to feel any easier. The thing is as well, like when you compare both position ones, the thing is TB is inherently just going to farm faster even with a bad lane. Right, because you are going to eventually have the Conjure Image up, you can just go into the jungle with a couple Wraith Bands. Compared to the Void, who does want something like a Maelstrom up before he can really start to escalate and farm. So you aren't going to have that natural kind of faster farming pace here, at least for the POS 1 of Wildcard as they jump in again.
Boy.
Tiger, no way out of this. He'll try to fight back. Sunstrike's going to fly in. Sunlight dropping very low, but Rises can't get Lucky Bash in and really can't keep going either. Sunlight, he has 3 mangoes ready to go whenever. And Rises, oh, he's going to lose his courier as well.
Oh, boy.
That was his boots and an extra salve. Gone to the wayside for another minute and a half. Might be an opening for Wildcard.
Yeah, and we're seeing the difference when Treant has a tree line to play with.
Here we go again. Ryze is in trouble bottom lane. Time walk up in 1. Oh, he's not going to make it.
Oh.
Meanwhile, top side, at least they're going to find Sammy.
Hard case.
So the off lane of Alpha going very, very well. But you lost your Void. Tiger's probably not safe either. Flea might just jump him. He won't for now, but this bottom lane, it's so painful.
Yeah, it's just the output. You have so much damage output. Time Walk just... It's not a good answer until the levels are up. Rises with level 2, it's a little bit better. Still not
Soul.
enough.
Mid lane, nice toss back from Babbage. That T1 tower still hitting away. Snowball's going to buy a bit of time. Avalanche in. Soul is gone. Pamplona, he'll keep trying to at least trade Sammy Boy's life. Nature's Grasp going to fly in. He just doesn't have the damage. Not by himself. And Sammy's almost taunting him by just chasing him down.
Yeah, he runs up. Doesn't really have anything to do, but, you know, just shoves away that Tusk, ensuring that there's no follow-through onto Babbage, and just kind of checking the runes as well. Ensure nothing's up. 2-4 now. Wildcard off the back of those exchanges, definitely up ahead. And the side lane for Alpha, it's hurting. Like, yes, you are having a strong start in Monster. He's going to have to try to buy a lot of space for Rises. And even for Soul. Soul, Midas timing key for Invoker here. As long as he finds it by maybe 12-13, you're sort of happy. He did go all in and going Quasic Sword. He's got a lot more damage coming out from the Sunstrike if they can connect. And it does feel they're going all in on just having this play with a Chrono. Like, they really want to tie in with that. The one issue I see for Alpha is it's really cooldown dependent.
Bottom lane. Sunlight, he's going to be fine to back off. He's got raindrops, so the last word damage doesn't really do anything at the moment from Tiger. Keep in mind, while that was happening, the mid-tier 1, it lost over half its HP pool right there. Babbage was just getting to work with the siege creep. Not very fun times for Alpha whatsoever so far. And speaking of Babbage, he's doing very, very well in CS. Like, as an Invoker, you can't really slow down the tiny CS very much. He's only 1 CS behind the DP. Monster, of course, having a very free lane so far in the Death Prophet. But it seems like Monster has a lot of pressure on his shoulders to really bring Alpha back into this game, because this laning stage, it doesn't seem too bad quite yet, but you are going to need someone to start moving and setting a pace as Alpha, because it's not like this Invoker's really going to be able to do it either. Like, Soul, he just wants to play a bit of a farm game here.
Yeah, you've got 2 big farmers in Alpha, so you've got to connect with Monster. You've got to siege some towers with your support somehow, play off the back of this DP strong start. And Monster's going to get started up top. Yeah, you already have Arc in the jungle anyway. He doesn't care too much about this. Just free space.
Oh, Rises, no. Babbage is here with a haste rune. He's got Time Walk in a few. They'll time it perfectly. Toss up. He's gone. No soul assumption even necessary. They are really making sure Rises does not have any chance at a game. At the least, Monster does find a top tier 1 tower.
Yeah, it's a nice tower to take, and they do have a forward ward to watch Arc when he's farming, so they can jump him a lot easier now when they do get a rotation out. They will find bot on Wildcard's end. That will give Arc a safe spot to farm anyway. Just hang bot. No problems there for the Terrorblade if need be. The one issue again for Arc, like they're so tied into these cooldowns. Like we're talking Exorcism, we're talking Chrono, and down the line we'll be talking about Cataclysm when it's up. Like you have to play around these fairly long cooldown spells. Whereas for Wildcard, they don't really have that outside of probably Metamorphosis really, and even then you're not looking for Arc to rotate into these fights anyway. So you have a lot more uptime with just how aggressive a Visage can be, with how much you can commit out with Sammy and the kisses, although Sammy...
Speaking of, trying to go for a cookie back to the low ground, we'll make it out. No Walrus punch up yet for Pamplona, so can't really lock down the Snapfire at the moment. Although know exactly where Alpha are hanging out in that dire jungle. Well, Wildcard even pressuring the bottom tier too. Like the thing is, if you're going to hang out in the dire jungle, Sunlight doesn't have to leave the bot lane as the Visage.
Yeah, he can just camp there. And you know what, Mike? You talked about Maelstrom for farming here. Rises is going Midas.
I mean, he kind of has to.
Yeah, but then you also have a Midas on Soul. Right? Like, you really are going all in and just farming. Because at least with a Maelstrom, you can clear stacks a lot better. Or even something like a Mask of Madness. The Midas doesn't quite help you in farming these camps as much. The attack speed is nice, but clearing out big stacks, nah, you can't sustain through. Your output in Chrono, it pumps it up a little bit. But it does show that you will be reliant on the Exo and on at least the Sunstrike for quite some time here.
Yeah, I mean, it does just feel like it goes back. He has no farming pace for a Maelstrom, though. Like, it's... I feel kind of bad for Rises here. Like, he got outlaned by a Visage tree. There's not much he could have done. Babbage going to move in. Monster getting caught out. This is a big one. Again, Monster was a saving grace for Alpha. He was the one guy having a good lane. And he's just so easily taken out as Babbage will take it. Second in net worth is the Tiny now. And it's all they've got to do. Slow down the DP, go into the mid-tier 1 tower, Sunlight's rotated. At least this gives your Void a little bit of space to farm the bot lane. But once that tier 1 mid tower is gone, Wildcard, they just take over the map.
Yeah, it doesn't take too long for them to start getting that push in. I mean, you can just move in with Sunlight. Just the Familiars alone is going to give you a lot of output onto those objectives. You don't really need Arc to show up here. And Arc has all the space in the world. He's recovered quite nicely in the Terrorblade. Farm distribution's fairly even across all cores, with the exception of Rises at the bottom. A lot more catching up for Faceless Void to do. He's got room now that Sunlight has left the lane. He does have a lot more to play with in that bot lane. But there is a ward watching him in the jungle anyway. So if Wildcard decided to make a play, they've got the room for it. And now they've got this blink up in Babbage. So they can look to play aggressive on Wildcard. Much easier to get that initiation they might be looking for. And for Alpha, it's still a farming game. At the least, Midas is up on Soul, rushing the Ags now. So you will have output, but it will take time. Patience is key here for Alpha.
They may not have much time, though. Wildcard, they've smoked up. 4-man, right into that Radiant jungle. Pamplona, at the very least, might just tank the gank here as Babbage. He's going to have his smoke broken. Does get the bounty, but Avalanche Toss is going to be out. Snowball, back the way of the neutral camp. Still running with the shards. Very nice block there from Pamplona. And you know what? He doesn't even go down.
Yeah, he forces out the Metamorphosis from Arc. So they don't have to worry about a clump up push on mid. Although Sunlight's doing that by himself anyway. Good damage coming out onto the tower.
Here we go. Chrono out. Rise is going to try and get involved. Chaos Meteor with the Sunstrike. That's a lot of damage on Sunlight. Or even Babbage getting sharded in. Trapped up, Global Silence, Snowball in as well. This is the team fight Alpha needed. That's what they needed to do. In goes Monster for more now, wanting to take down Sammy. And it looks like they should have the Snapfire. Arc trying to fight back with his Metamorphosis, but he's dropping so low, he needs a Sunder. He'll get one on Monster, but the mech is up. Monster is fine. Arc will go down. Rises. Really enjoying himself in the mid lane. As Sammy trying to trade back, gets a cookie. It may not be enough though. Time Walk is there. Rises still walking out of there just fine. It's Monster doing so much. Sunlight dies a second time in a row. And an immediate pulse out. Uh-oh. Well, hold on a minute, Rises. Hold on a minute, Rises. I'm not sure about this one.
You know, you could have some network issues. It happens here in NA.
He could and he could not, John.
For Wildcard, though, they're having issues. They're having a lot of issues on Wildcard right now. I mean, the Chrono comes out. It would have been fine if you just lost Monster, but Babatic got stuck in the Chrono. He blinked into it. Like, he just made that snapshot blink right as Chrono was coming out, then canceled the movement before then.
Another.
Got punished.
Look at Rises. Flea. Sadly got bashed up mid-TP, and he's gone. Another one.
All right. I guess the pace of the game isn't that slow for Alpha, finding those kills for themselves. Ags now just about almost 2 parts away. Full Midas up and running for Rises. His farm pace, it's recovering. He's tying in with Arc because of that death. And Wildcard have to watch themselves. They can't afford to get caught out. When it comes to the team fight, Alpha does have it. It's just on longer cooldowns. And because that fight dragged on for so long, Wildcard don't have an opportunity to play while they're down. Like, they're just respawning back in. They're going back to their lanes. They can't afford to make a smoke play out. Which means Alpha, they're going to be online to make that same move again sooner rather than later. And if they keep doing this, like, the Face's Void is actually a menace. Like, sure, you know, with a Midas, it feels awkward, but as long as you get the Chrono down, as long as this Cataclysm comes out on Soul, I mean, you've got everything. You really don't have too much to worry about. You can control up Arc. Nothing will save them from the Chrono here. They just don't have saves. No Venge swap, no Oracle to prolong your life, nothing. It's such a great Void game for Rises once he hits that point where he's just unstoppable.
Oh, here you go. Wildcard, 3-man smoke up into the Radiant jungle. They'll barely miss out on Rises for now. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Global silence, though. Gonna buy time. Rises, he'll have time walk back up in a second. Sammy, now the one in danger. Can they find him? He'll use the pig stick. In comes Monster. Happy to fight, but Sunlight's gonna ward him off. They are fighting under vision of Wildcard right now, so it's not too safe. In goes Rises. That's a nice Chrono. Soul, he's got the Chaos Meteor, but it's not gonna do so much damage this time around. In fact, now Rises. Oh no, he's gone. They got too confident after that last team fight, I think. Monster still running. Avalanche on cooldown for another one. They won't try to dive the tier 2 tower. Babbage will back off. It was a nice attempt for the Chrono. I think the Chaos Meteor this time it was positioned in a way where it was a little bit more greedy, trying to connect on 2, and they just couldn't get anyone down.
The big thing is they didn't have Global Silence to stop the kisses from Sammy. They expended it much earlier in that fight. Sammy's outside Chrono. He got his space out, and he got the kisses with Overgrowth on top. Like, they had Overgrowth on Chrono. That's their only counterplay for that on the Face's Void. And Flea was just in the right spot. So the Chrono catches out the cores, but the supports are the ones you want to watch out for in that Chrono. Like, at least take out either the Treant or the Snap. You can't allow both of them to play with that combination.
I bet it's trying to get into blink range to get somebody with this Avalanche toss. Looks like Pamplona might be the victim here. They know he's in the tree line. Shards will be out. Babbage blinking in, but not finding the tusk yet, so Flea will have to do the job. Eventually, Snowball will be there. Delay this a little bit. Pamplona, she's still running, but the cookie's going to land. It took him a little bit longer than expected, but Sunlight will take the kill here. That's going to open up the bottom tier 2 tower now, and obviously with the Visage, it's not going to take the longest to take this one out.
Yeah, not going to take too long, and if we recall our esportsbet.io odds here, it should be favoring Wildcard, right? What's the factor we're
currently it is 3.06 to 1.35 the way of Wildcard. You got to give props to Alpha. Like, the odds are still close because Alpha did find great ways of fighting back in some earlier team fights. Yeah, but they certainly are still favoring Wildcard.
We almost died to the Sunstrike. Yeah, Wildcard, I mean, there was that back and forth. The mid fight for Alpha looked really good. Their combination went off well. The key thing is, if Wildcard don't get caught in that same order, if they're able to bait out Global Silence first, have that window for kisses, have that window for Overgrowth in Chrono, then you still have a lot of play there. It's not the easiest time to just have Rises hit in. And we still don't quite have the Ags on Soul. It will be up next. By the time that next Chrono is ready, you should have the Ags up and running on the Invoker. Much better teamfight presence then. And that's when we really need to see Alpha connect with these cooldowns. They've got to get the Chrono. They've got to get that Cataclysm. They've got to transition into a push and just shrink this map, because Arc, he's farming really good.
Well, there's the Ags up now. Completed with that final creep wave. Soul will have it out. Chrono is available right now, so, I mean, if you want to try and go for the Chrono Cataclysm, you can. Rises, he might want to just keep farming towards that Maelstrom. Almost has it anyway. Never hurts to have a bit of damage in that Chrono, apart from that Cataclysm. And Alpha certainly have hit a very nice timing now. This is their strong point, that's for sure. However, you know, if this next big smoke attempt fails, the surprise reveal of the Ags on the Invoker, that could be problematic. So it seems like Sammy has found Pamplona in the dire jungle. Pamplona try and fight back, but there really is no fighting. Babbage will take him out. Sammy with the voice lines already. Wildcard still perfectly fine.
Yeah, and Alpha at least bail out. You know, they don't have Rises getting caught out from that rotation. They've got the ward to spot it on the cliff. They've got their spells ready. They just need the opportunity to get that Cataclysm off with a Chrono and just play off the back of Exo onto an objective. On the side of Wildcard, they're not quite ready to show up with Arc. So their big hidden core isn't quite ready yet. They're going to have to play off just with Baptich and just with Sunlight. And they are really effective at this point, but once we see that build up into the BKBs coming out for Alpha, and then that's when the game gets kind of tough.
Monster.
Monster.
He's a big target. Baptich does jump in. Avalanche toss. Kisses are there. Monster will try to survive with the Siphons. He's actually not dropping. He's moving right in onto Sammy. So this gank attempt on Monster not going to pan out. I mean, he does have Hood of Defiance plus Nethershall plus Guardian Greaves. So magic damage not really doing enough. Meanwhile, Sunlight goes for a bit of a run. Rises did pick up a Haste Rune, but he's going to be okay. Wildcard, they find Babbage. Cookie away, but the snowball will connect from Pamplona. Babbage, though, very, very tanky on the Tiny as well. Global Silence going to be forced out here to try and at least secure something. After Sammy they go. Overgrowth is out though. Flea landing on two of them. Sammy trying to turn back around, get some damage out before he is gone. But ultimately will die. It's Wildcard not willing to keep going for this fight. I think respecting the fact you are going to have to be up against that Chrono Cataclysm. And now Roshan is opened up for Alpha. They'll move in.
No overgrowth threat here coming out from Flea. So the play for Wildcard to steal isn't quite there, and that's going to be a straightforward one for them to find. With Alacrity up on Rises, it doesn't take too long, along with the Exo. First Roshan goes their way, and they still have the Chrono combination. So things are looking pretty good for Alpha. They've still got a few reveals to show here.
We'll see if they can catch a nice Chrono for Rises. Sunstrike, just to get a bit of a D ward off on the high ground. Not going to happen. Sammy will protect the Observer. Arc doing a fantastic job in terms of farm. Almost has the Skadi up now on the TB. Rises. We'll see Sammy. Chrono committed for this as well. Sammy, I mean, he is going to die. You may not mind too much, though, knowing that Chrono was committed for that.
Yeah, you'd be pretty happy. That takes away the threat of Chrono Cataclysm coming out. Wildcard can actually draw in Arc within 500 gold. Once the Skadi's up, your Terrorblade really damn tanky. He's not just going to get bursted down. Would still probably want the Manta to ensure that Silence doesn't mess him up. But after that, you're pretty much set. So Wildcard, you don't mind that. If you do make a play in the next 2 minutes, you have a massive opening.
No, Babbage just got a double damage rune now as well. It's like Sunlight's going to find out Monster. Just being annoying here with the Familiars. Top side, they want Tiger. They know Pamplona's around as well. Looks like Flea is trying to bait them in. Babbage will be there with the Avalanche. Overgrowth committed as well. They don't even need to pop the double damage rune. In fact, Snowball, gonna buy a bit of time. Babbage still on the chase. Blink up in a second, but there's the Leech Seed. That's not going to allow the blink away. Pamplona still trying to juke out, but is going to drop. They hold on to the double damage for another team fight.
Yeah. Not the major kill they'd want, but you find something here on Wildcard's end. Just keep that Tusk suppressed. They are grouping up top. Arc can get a little bit of a shove in going. Again, with his full Skadi up, gonna feel a little bit safer. Manta next for some of that Dispel on hand. Just ensure he doesn't just get caught up with the silences coming through here. So your Terrorblade's still shaping up #1 in that word. Your farm distribution behind that, it looks a bit bad, but it's not the worst gap in the world. You're still kind of tied in with the other course here.
Babbage, that's a big target. They've got Monster. Again, he's a tanky boy, but not that tanky. Not against the double damage Tiny. Tiger's also gone. Pamplona trying to go in for the snowball save onto Monster. Will be punished for it as well. 3 down for Alpha. 30 seconds away from Chrono being up.
Oh,
and
boy.
Babbage is in. He's found the target they really wanted. That's the Aegis gone. Chrono's still a long way away, 20 seconds. Can Rises find a way out? They've got the stuns out from the Familiars. He's gonna time walk, but the Skadi, it's too much slow and way too much damage.
And that's why that Chrono play onto Sammy, it costs you a lot. 2 minutes is a long time.
It is.
It's not a short cooldown on that Chrono. And you get punished for it. And now in Wildcard, they've only got 1 tier 2 tower to worry about. They've got control of the bot jungle with the outpost. They've got this ridiculous farm and Arc. He's about to have his full Manta up off the back of that fight. In fact, he has it. So he's got the Manta style. He can dispel off the silences. He doesn't care too much about the DP and your silencer, which is really your only sort of control outside of Snowball right now and Chrono. So you have a lot more play on Wildcard's end. And for Alpha, they had an opportunity. We haven't seen the combination with the Void. We haven't seen them tie in for a team fight with this Ags pickup, and it's got to happen. Like, that's where you're strongest. That's where you can really force the issue out. Catching Wildcard in a group, catching at least 2-3 heroes in the Chrono, and cleaning up from there, making sure you save your silence for that combination.
10 to 15 now, John. 6k advantage for Wildcard. Alpha completely grouped up as 4. Only guy missing right now is Soul at the top lane, but he can always kind of have that global impact anyway. He doesn't need to be there. Problem is Alpha, while they have the Chrono, they don't have the Aegis anymore. Not going to be feeling so safe to take a fight right now against Wildcard. To be fair though, BKB is now up on Rises, so he might want to try and force a fight with the BKB up. See what happens is Wildcard for now. They'll hang out at the top side of the map. I say that, but they are going to cut through mid. They'll see Monster. Again, not the easiest target to jump. They'll leave him be. But lines have been drawn out, so Wildcard, it seems like they want to maybe pressure this mid tier 2 tower. And Sunlight will get started.
Man, that's a good amount of damage.
It is really a good amount of damage.
Imagine if you had a Marcy or a Luna. Luna support with Visage.
That'd be fun. That's your tier 2 gone.
Jeez, that's it. They don't even bother trying to hold that outer tower. Like, that's their last outer tower here on Alpha. They do have good high ground. Forcing high ground up against Chrono and Cataclysm is a tall order. So Wildcard might take it easy from here, you know, go cruising, shove out the lanes, keep this farm game going, wait for next Roshan, and then you have your safety net. We'll see. That gives Alpha an opportunity. They will go for the smoke.
Let's see how this pans out. They're going to run into Sunlight first. They'd love a Visage for their trouble. Babbage is around the corner. Sunlight shying on the mid creep way. They are wrapping around the long way. They'll see Flea in the backside. They'll get some wards down for now. Ark's the main target if you can catch him. Rises.
Oh,
that's a great Chrono. Oh, he misses out on Babbage, but he's still got the Terror Blade. Can they burst him down? Not quite. The mechanism was there. The Guardian Grief's out from the Visage, saving his life. They found Flea, but that's all they've gotten now is Monster being chased down. Sunder out on Rises. And Monster's trapped up. Babbage will take care of it. He's trying to heal through it. It's not going to be enough. Tiger being slowed up with those kisses. On the chase is Ark and Babbage. Skadi, or Tiger, trying to run. Ark being slowed up by the Arcane Curse. May not make it, but Babbage, he should. Avalanche will connect. It was a really nice Chrono. Problem is, like, the Guardian Griefs from Sunlight just made it so you couldn't kill him.
And it didn't feel like the Cataclysm did much at all coming out from Soul. Like, the damage didn't really connect onto Arc in a big way. And now just these towers melt. You've got Visage TB with Metamorphosis. It doesn't take too long. At least they have the Fortify to stall out, but without Chrono, I don't see any big teamfight play you can make here.
And the thing is as well, like, going back to that Chrono, Ark has 3k HP, so it's probably... You're just past the point where you can actually just burst him down instantly.
Yeah, their window was that Aegis timing.
Yeah.
When they had that Ags up initially on Soul. And now, I mean, you can still beat down in the Terrorblade with his Faceless Void, but it takes a lot more farm. It takes a lot more stall. You have to play with that Chrono threat really well. And with Wildcard 8k up, with all the pressure they have on the map, with at least one melee racks taken mid, this game is just so much harder for Alpha. They don't have outer tower hold. Their map space limited.
Look at Sunlight. Look at him. He's so confident. Familiar stun him up. Babbage is there with the backup. Greaves will save. Snowball will be there. Rise is forced to BKB. Sunlight barely taking any damage. Now the shards to block him in. They finally got it. It took 5 heroes to kill off this Visage, but they'll get the job done.
Yeah, it takes quite a fair bit. It takes a BKB charge from Rises, but you know what? That's a core kill. You're more than happy with that. It helps you kind of regain just a little bit of that momentum back. It's a good amount of gold flying your way. So you're pretty glad. The Obs War just getting its value back there. And you're just stalling out on Silent Light. Still, your concern is you're not keeping up with Arc. And Roshan is up. And Chrono is up for a counterfight. Cataclysm should be at the ready as well. So they can contest. But if they give out that Rosh, it's not going to take too long for it to fall. Arc has Metamorphosis ready. He's going for the Butterfly next. He's got his BKB with a Manta. He's very well protected on this Terrorblade.
And he is. They're still picking out the bottom, the Radiant jungle, but knowing that they're there, the Sunstrike will get committed to try and skate out the Roshan pit. They'll see nobody in the pit for now.
Coin for me.
Wildcard not getting started quite yet. Of course, you are still against the threat of Chrono and Cataclysm, so you don't want to risk it in the pit, but it seems like they will now. Just making sure no one's around, get some wards around that Radiant Triangle, and kind of just see them coming. This will be the Aegis and Shards to go their way, as another Sunstrike this time will scout them out, but it's way too late. Wildcard, they won't even flinch. Aegis out on Arc. Shards. Don't even know who it's taken by.
It's on Flea.
On Flea.
So he's got the root out with Nature's Guys. And they've got control. No outer towers left. High ground siege is straightforward. Again, it's all down to this Chrono from Rises. If he gets them in the choke spot on the high ground, that's where the game can turn for Alpha, but they've got to be precise with this.
Flea's in the tree line already, annoying the crap out of Tiger. Kane Curse is there. They know Flea's in the trees. Pamplona's going to make the jump in. Maybe they can get this tree in, or maybe not. He's a bit too tanky right now. Snowball to come in. Lotus Orb going to send him right back the other way in that Snowball. In the meantime, Pamplona's dying to Arc. He's just gone. This Arc TB, it just hits way too hard. Buyback is there from Pamplona. I mean, you've got the Chrono up. The only problem is Arc's the only one on the front line. And you can't really afford to only catch him at the moment. He's got a secondary life anyway. Here we go. Rice. Smoke broken. He can't sneak up behind them. Now 2 racks is down. Arc will just keep going. Onto Tiger. Meanwhile, Babbage fighting Pamplona. That'll be a dieback on the Tusk. Rises.
Oh,
he
no.
only got 1 onto Babbage. And Babbage is not even going to die. The Guardian Greaves again coming in clutch from our Visage. Is he is surrounded. It might just be time to call it. There's no buybacks left.
It's a toughie. They needed all of that to connect, and it just doesn't in the most devastating way possible. Mega Creeps are just going to come out. There's no threat. No Chrono, no Kata. Exorcisms there. Doesn't feel like enough. There's no one to hold them down. And it's just going to melt.
Babbage, very, very strong in this tiny. Another toss back. 4-star forward.
Oh.
Ogre Sill Totem. Tiger, where you going? He'll just go right into their hands. It's just like, screw it, I know I'm dead. And that's it. GG was called. It'll be game 1 to go the way of Wildcard, which is, I suppose, as kind of expected. They were the favorites. A pretty rough lane for Rises. I mean, off lane went...